Greetings. I propose to think about why world jewelry brands buy back their own jewelry at auctions. It would seem that there is no logic in it. As you know, on the contrary, expensive jewelry is put up by the brands themselves in the hope of finding a rich buyer for their masterpiece. At the same time, they quite legitimately want to get much more money for their item than if such jewelry was bought in a salon. Recently, there has been a surprising trend, which is not particularly explainable. Jewelry houses, whose history of formation is at least a century, have become especially greedy to buy their own jewelry at Sotheby's and Christie's auctions. But if we begin to understand, we will realize that all the jewelry that jewelry houses buy out so eagerly are historical and iconic for the history of the brand. After all, imagine that at one time there lived a jeweler, Jean Schleuenberger, who constantly collaborated with Tiffany and created unique jewelry. These jewels were worn by very rich people and by no means allowed mass advertising with such jewelry. But decades later, the heirs put this jewelry up for auction. Of course, for a jewelry house with a century of history, this is a real luck. Therefore, the passions for the purchase of such jewelry are raging. Buying an antique jewelry of its own brand is not only a story about advertising and PR. In terms of the stones themselves, there really is a lot to see. For example, a 127-carat emerald of superb quality. It's not every day that you can easily find such a treasure in the fields. Yes, and not always such stones will be ennobled. Often you can find a real treasure. I will tell you about several cases of excellent acquisitions made by world brands at auctions. In November 2018, there were real passions at the Sotheby's auction in Geneva. For the sitar with an emerald of 127 carats fought not only Bulgari, who created this miracle, but also a good half of collectors around the world. In the end, with an estimate of 300 to 500,000 Swiss francs, the sitar was snatched up by Bulgari for a sum 3 times higher than the limit price, 1,035,000 francs. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this style of jewelry, but I couldn't agree more. An emerald in a sitar is really beautiful. Van Cleef Arpels is also a big regular at major auctions. A few years ago, the jewelry house was lucky. It bought at auction a chrysolite half parure of Peggy Rockefeller. Interestingly, this historic piece of jewelry, Van Cleef did not hide it behind 7 locks, but actively exhibited it. A luxurious sapphire set that belonged to Marjorie Merriweather Post, the richest heiress in the General Food empire. Apparently, the heirs thought this piece of jewelry wasn't particularly meaningful and auctioned it off at Christie's. This is a true classic of the 50s, and who understands it cannot cease to admire the exquisite and delicate work. The specialists of the Cartier Jewelry House did not lag behind their colleagues. Having seen that a historical tiara with diamonds and rock crystal would soon be exhibited, Cartier decided to act immediately and bought it out. The tiara was created in 1912 and is a true reflection of the era. During that period, there was a strong fashion for combining carved rock crystal decoration with diamond inlays. Many pieces of the time were made by Cartier using crystal. It seems that now jewelry houses are becoming real competitors to their own customers. What do you think jewelry brands will do with these ornaments? Will they sell them again to someone? I read that in this way jewelry houses do not let the price of jewelry fall. And they make money, since such jewelry can be rented out for a lot of money. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.